5 blood pressure tests every senior should reevaluate after 60. Doctor explains. Have you ever woken up with that pounding headache that just won't quit? Or maybe you've sat in that sterile doctor's office watching as the blood pressure cuff tightens around your arm, your heart sinking as the numbers climb higher and higher while your doctor's expression grows increasingly concerned. I know exactly what it feels like to live with that constant worry hanging over you, checking your blood pressure multiple times a day, carrying medication everywhere you go, even avoiding those precious moments with grandchildren because you're afraid the excitement might make your heart work too hard. Hypertension steals more than our health. It robs us of our peace, our freedom, our ability to live life on our terms. And the worst part is hearing those same generic recommendations over and over. Cut back on salt, lose some weight, take your medications regularly. As if it were that simple, right? After years of helping people just like you regain control over their blood pressure, I've discovered that there are 5 critical tests that most doctors rarely discuss in depth with their patients after age 60. Tests that could completely transform how you manage your blood pressure and potentially reduce or even eliminate your need for certain medications. Imagine waking up each morning feeling energized instead of exhausted, being able to play with your grandkids without constantly monitoring yourself, or traveling without fear of a medical emergency far from home. This isn't just another empty promise. It's a proven path that you can start today by understanding these 5 essential tests that go beyond the standard blood pressure reading. So, stay with me until the end because this could be the most important video you watch this year for your cardiovascular health. Before we dive in, I'd love to know if you or someone in your family struggles with high blood pressure. Drop a comment below, sharing your experience or any questions you might have about this topic. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to receive more content that could transform your health journey. Let's start by understanding why standard blood pressure tests after 60 might not be telling you the whole story. You see, when we reach our 60s, our cardiovascular system has been working for over 6 decades. That's more than 500 million heartbeats. And just like any machine that's been running that long, it develops unique patterns and conditions that require specialized assessment. The standard arm cuff reading at your doctor's office is important, but it's just the beginning. It's like judging a house's entire structural integrity by only checking the front door. There's so much more happening beneath the surface that we need to understand, especially as we age. The first critical test that seniors over 60 should request is an Ambulatory Blood Pressure Monitoring Test, or ABPM. This might sound technical, but it's actually quite simple. Instead of just getting 1 or 2 readings at your doctor's office, where you might be experiencing white coat syndrome that artificially raises your numbers due to anxiety, an ABPM test measures your blood pressure throughout a normal 24-hour period as you go about your daily activities. You wear a small device that takes readings every 15 to 30 minutes during the day and every 30 to 60 minutes while you sleep. What makes this test so powerful is that it captures how your blood pressure naturally fluctuates throughout the day and night. Studies show that for seniors, nighttime blood pressure readings are actually more predictive of cardiovascular risk than daytime readings. Imagine that. The readings you get while sleeping might be more important than the ones you get while awake. An ABPM test can identify patterns that a standard office check simply can't detect, like nocturnal hypertension, where your pressure doesn't properly dip during sleep, or morning surge hypertension, where your pressure spikes dramatically when you first wake up. These patterns require very different treatment approaches. Many of my clients who thought their blood pressure was well controlled based on office readings discovered through ABPM that they needed a completely different medication schedule or type. One client, Margaret, found that taking her medication before bed rather than in the morning, based on her ABPM results, reduced her systolic pressure by an average of 15 points without changing the medication itself. That's the power of having the right information. The second essential test is an orthostatic hypotension assessment. This might sound complicated, but it's one of the simplest yet most overlooked tests for seniors. Here's why it matters. As we age, our body's ability to regulate blood pressure when changing positions can diminish. This can create a dangerous situation where your blood pressure drops suddenly when you stand up, potentially leading to dizziness, falls, and injuries. But here's the tricky part many doctors miss. Sometimes the very medications prescribed to control high blood pressure can actually cause or worsen this condition. The test is straightforward. Your blood pressure is measured while you're lying down, then again immediately after standing up, and again after standing for 2 to 3 minutes. If there's a significant drop when you stand up, it could indicate orthostatic hypotension. What's particularly important for seniors to understand is that sometimes what feels like a dizzy spell or just getting up too quickly could actually be a warning sign of medication that's working too aggressively or at the wrong time of day. I've worked with numerous clients who were taking blood pressure medications that were keeping their numbers in a perfect range according to office tests, but were causing dangerous drops when they stood up at home. By identifying this issue through proper testing, their doctors were able to adjust their medication timing or type, significantly reducing fall risk while still managing their hypertension effectively. Remember, after 60, it's not just about having good numbers on paper. It's about having blood pressure that's stable throughout all your daily activities. I want to take a moment to ask you something important. When was the last time someone truly listened to your concerns about high blood pressure? Not just looking at the numbers on your test, but actually hearing how you feel living with this condition day after day. Many people tell me privately how isolated they feel, like nobody really understands the constant burden they carry, that silent fear that accompanies every heartbeat. If you identify with this, I would really appreciate hearing your experience in the comments below. It could be something as simple as, I've been battling hypertension for X years, and what troubles me most is your biggest concern. Sharing your story not only helps me create more relevant content for you, but it also shows other people watching that they're not alone in this fight. Sometimes just knowing there's someone going through the same situation brings immense relief. And who knows, your experience might be exactly what someone needed to read today to find hope. Now, let's continue our conversation about how we can transform this reality together. The third critical test that seniors should revisit after 60 is a comprehensive metabolic panel with special attention to kidney function markers. Now, you might be wondering what your kidneys have to do with your blood pressure. The answer is everything. Your kidneys and blood pressure have what doctors call a bidirectional relationship. High blood pressure can damage your kidneys over time, but equally important, declining kidney function can cause or worsen high blood pressure. It's a vicious cycle that becomes increasingly relevant as we age. Standard blood tests look at basic kidney markers like creatinine and BUN, blood urea nitrogen. But for seniors with hypertension, we need to dig deeper. Specifically, you should ask your doctor about your eGFR, estimated glomerular filtration rate, and albumin to creatinine ratio, which are more sensitive indicators of kidney function. Here's why this matters so much. Studies show that nearly 30% of seniors with resistant hypertension, meaning blood pressure that remains high despite multiple medications, have underlying kidney issues that aren't being properly addressed. Even more striking, research suggests that optimizing kidney function can improve blood pressure control more effectively than adding another medication in many cases. I've seen this firsthand with clients like Robert, who had been on 4 different blood pressure medications with limited success. When we advocated for comprehensive kidney testing, his doctor discovered moderate kidney impairment that wasn't showing up on standard tests. By addressing this issue directly through medication adjustments and specific dietary changes, Robert's blood pressure improved significantly, and he was able to reduce his medication burden. The key insight here is that your kidneys filter about 200 quarts of blood daily, regulating fluid and electrolyte balance throughout your body. When that system isn't working optimally, no amount of blood pressure medication will fully correct the problem. It's like trying to fix a leaky bucket by adding more water instead of patching the hole. Moving to our fourth essential test, we need to talk about the arterial stiffness assessment. This is perhaps the most overlooked aspect of cardiovascular health for seniors, yet it's increasingly recognized by leading cardiologists as a critical factor in managing hypertension after 60. As we age, our arteries naturally lose some of their elasticity. Think of it like a garden hose that's been left in the sun for too long. It becomes stiffer and less flexible. When your heart pumps blood through stiff arteries, it creates more pressure and strain on your cardiovascular system. The traditional arm cuff blood pressure test doesn't tell you anything about the condition of your arteries. That's why specialized tests like pulse wave velocity, PWV, or augmentation index measurements are so valuable for seniors. These tests use non-invasive sensors to measure how quickly pressure waves move through your arteries. Faster wave movement indicates stiffer arteries, which may require different treatment approaches. What's fascinating is that arterial stiffness doesn't always correlate with your standard blood pressure numbers. You can have controlled hypertension according to regular readings, but still have dangerously stiff arteries, or vice versa. This explains why some people with similar blood pressure readings have vastly different outcomes. Research from Johns Hopkins University shows that arterial stiffness is actually a stronger predictor of future cardiovascular events than blood pressure alone in people over 60. Even more important for you to understand, certain blood pressure medications specifically target and can improve arterial flexibility, while others primarily focus on reducing the pressure without addressing the underlying stiffness. Without this test, your doctor may not be prescribing the optimal medication class for your specific condition. I've worked with several clients who switched to medication that specifically addresses arterial stiffness and saw remarkable improvements not just in their numbers, but in their energy, exercise capacity, and overall quality of life. The fifth and final test that's absolutely essential for seniors with hypertension is a comprehensive medication interaction analysis. Now, this isn't a blood test or a physical measurement, but it's potentially the most important assessment for anyone over 60 taking multiple medications. Here's the reality. By the time we reach our 60s, many of us are taking several different medications for various conditions. A recent study found that the average 65-year-old takes 7 different prescription drugs. What many people don't realize is that certain medications can raise your blood pressure significantly, even if they're prescribed for completely unrelated conditions. Common culprits include over-the-counter pain relievers like ibuprofen, certain antidepressants, some cold medications, hormonal treatments, and even some herbal supplements. The problem is that your primary care doctor, cardiologist, and other specialists might not have a complete picture of everything you're taking. A comprehensive medication interaction analysis, typically conducted by a clinical pharmacist, evaluates all your medications together, identifying potential interactions and medications that could be affecting your blood pressure. This isn't just about prescription drugs. It includes over-the-counter medications, supplements, and even certain foods that might interact with your medications. What makes this analysis so powerful is that it often identifies simple changes that can have dramatic effects on your blood pressure. I'll never forget working with Eleanor, a 72-year-old client who had resistant hypertension, according to her cardiologist. She was taking 4 different blood pressure medications, yet her numbers remained stubbornly high. When we arranged a comprehensive medication review, the pharmacist discovered that the naproxen she was taking for her arthritis was raising her blood pressure by as much as 20 points. By switching to a different pain management approach, her blood pressure came down significantly within 2 weeks, and eventually she was able to reduce her blood pressure medications from 4 down to just 2. This kind of analysis isn't routinely offered, so you need to specifically request it, either through your primary care provider or directly with a clinical pharmacist. Many insurance plans, including Medicare Part D, now cover this service. Let's talk about how these 5 tests work together to create a complete picture of your cardiovascular health after 60. The standard blood pressure check that you get in a doctor's office is like looking at a single frame from a movie. These additional tests show you the entire film, with all its complexity and nuance. Together, they can reveal patterns and problems that would otherwise remain hidden. For example,
Your ABPM test might show that your blood pressure is actually highest early in the morning, while your orthostatic hypotension assessment might reveal that your current evening medication dose is causing dangerous drops when you get up at night. Your kidney function test might indicate that a specific type of diuretic would be more effective for you, while your arterial stiffness assessment suggests you need a medication that improves vascular flexibility. Finally, your medication interaction analysis might reveal that something you're taking for an entirely different condition is undermining all your blood pressure management efforts. When you put all this information together, you and your healthcare team can develop a truly personalized approach to managing your hypertension, one that's specifically tailored to your unique physiology and lifestyle. What continues to surprise me in my work with seniors is how many are managing their hypertension with outdated or incomplete information. Medicine has advanced tremendously in our understanding of hypertension in older adults, yet many standard practices haven't caught up. For instance, we now know that blood pressure goals should be somewhat individualized based on overall health, frailty, and other conditions. The one-size-fits-all target that might be appropriate for a 45-year-old could actually increase fall risk and other problems in someone over 70. These 5 tests provide the detailed information needed to create that personalized approach. Another critical insight from recent research is that the timing of medication can be just as important as the type or dose for many seniors. Taking certain blood pressure medications at bedtime rather than in the morning has been shown to reduce cardiovascular events by nearly half in some studies. But without an ABPM test to understand your 24-hour blood pressure pattern, this powerful intervention might never be considered. Let's also address something many doctors don't discuss enough. Quality of life matters tremendously when managing chronic conditions like hypertension. I've worked with too many seniors who were technically at goal blood pressure readings, but were suffering from medication side effects that made them miserable, from constant fatigue to frequent urination that disrupted their sleep and daily activities. That's not successful treatment in my book. By getting these comprehensive tests and understanding your unique cardiovascular profile, you and your doctor can work together to find an approach that effectively manages your blood pressure while maximizing your energy, independence, and enjoyment of life. After all, the goal isn't just adding years to your life, but adding life to your years. So, how do you actually get these tests? Start by having a conversation with your primary care provider. Bring a list of these 5 tests and explain why you're interested in them. If your doctor isn't familiar with some of these assessments or seems reluctant to order them, consider seeking a consultation with a cardiologist who specializes in geriatric hypertension or a nephrologist, a kidney specialist, who can provide more specialized care. Many major medical centers now have dedicated hypertension clinics that offer comprehensive testing and management specifically for complex or resistant cases. Remember that you are your own best advocate. Don't be afraid to ask questions, seek second opinions, or request referrals to specialists who can provide the level of care you need. Your health is too important to settle for a partial picture when complete information is available.
There's also a role for you to play between medical visits. Home blood pressure monitoring has become increasingly accurate and affordable. I recommend that my clients check their pressure at the same times each day and keep a simple log noting the reading along with any relevant factors like medication timing, stress levels, physical activity, or unusual dietary choices that day. This information becomes invaluable when combined with the more comprehensive tests we've discussed. It helps identify patterns and triggers that might otherwise go unnoticed. Many home monitors now connect to smartphone apps that can generate reports to share with your healthcare team, making this process even easier. What I find most encouraging in my work with seniors is how responsive blood pressure can be to the right interventions when they're based on comprehensive, personalized information. I've seen clients who struggled for years with poorly controlled hypertension despite multiple medications experience dramatic improvements once they had the right tests and tailored their approach accordingly. Even small adjustments to medication type, timing, or dosage based on these detailed assessments can yield significant benefits. And the payoff isn't just in better numbers, it's in restored energy, confidence, and freedom to live life fully without the constant worry that comes with uncontrolled hypertension. If you've stayed with me this far, you probably know firsthand how challenging it can be to live with high blood pressure, especially after 60.
The constant worry, the medications with their side effects, the restrictions that seem to steal a bit of joy from everyday life. I want you to know that you're not alone on this journey. Our channel was created specifically to build a community of support for people like you who are looking for effective, evidence-based approaches to cardiovascular health that go beyond the standard advice. Each week we share new findings, simple strategies that can help manage your blood pressure naturally, and answer questions that doctors often don't have time to address during brief appointments. If this content resonated with you, consider subscribing to the channel and turning on notifications. This way we can walk this health journey together, one step at a time, at a pace that respects where you are right now with the consistency your heart deserves. I don't promise miracles, but I do guarantee honest information based on serious research and real-world experience with people who have achieved meaningful results. Take good care of yourself, and I hope to see you in the next video where we'll continue our conversation about living better, even with hypertension. Your heart appreciates every small act of care you dedicate to it today. Remember, understanding your blood pressure fully through these 5 essential tests isn't just about extending your life. It's about ensuring that those extra years are vibrant, active, and joyful. With the right information and approach, hypertension becomes something you manage effectively in the background of your life, not the central concern that colors every decision and moment. That's the freedom I want for you, and it starts with having complete information through these 5 critical tests. Take this information to your next doctor's appointment, advocate for the comprehensive testing you deserve, and start your journey toward truly personalized blood pressure management that works with your unique physiology, not against it. Your future self will thank you for taking this important step today.